Great, awesome. Thank you so much. I just really excited to talk today. I keep saying I wish it was better circumstances, but it really has been great to have this opportunity. Everyone's been so willing to share and to continue to grow during this time frame has been amazing. So as Francesca said, I'm one of the owners of S2 Breakthrough. I focus on hitting there, and I'm also the general manager of the Orland Park A's travel organization. And we really dove in sort of headfirst to using blast sensors this fall. So we bought them all for all of our high school age athletes for the Orland Park A's, which ends up being about 50, and then anyone that trains with us at S2 Breakthrough. And so we spent the first few months, I would say, just trying to figure out exactly how we were gonna, interwove this into our organization. What happened at first is the girls slapped on those sensors and collected literally every swing they ever took in their whole lives on the tee and dry and warm-ups. And so what I was fed on my end was overwhelming and not exactly helpful information. And so what we spent those first few months is figuring out what were we going to use this for in a way that was going to make our systems more efficient for our athletes, help them get better, and feed them a story that's helpful. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is just really briefly what we are using it for currently, what we sort of decided out of that process to use it for. I'm sure this will be much different if we had a presentation this time next year as we continue to learn and evolve and what we want to do. So we can go ahead and flip to the next slide. I can go one more. I am actually freezing a little bit. One more slide, sorry, just to the first story. You guys are still seeing, oh, there we go, perfect. Okay, so for us, Blast has really two key roles. Go back one, sorry, the player identification slide. So Blast can serve for either player identification or player development. They both have roles that are really powerful, I think, but they're just a different use of the technology. And so player identification from us is more about where's the athlete now? What are key indicators that that athlete has that they're going to be successful at the level that they currently are in? We believe that this needs to be used at the appropriate age. So really, we're talking more recruiting and college level. And then there's player development. And so we decided early on that the player development role in the Blast, using the Blast Center, was where we were going to focus most of our efforts. We do use a little bit for player identification from helping our athletes put any metrics that are valuable out to college coaches, but we wanted to see how can we integrate this into our systems in a way that's player development focused, that can help them get where we want them to get, that can feed them a story about where they're going, that can show them those key measurements of success. Go ahead and next slide. So from that, as we decided that we were going to focus on player development, we started wondering what swing should we gather. We can go ahead and switch it to the data visualization slide. But we started trying to figure out what swings do we want to capture? What information do we want to be told to us from a player development story? And so we got very hyper focused on teaching our athletes about collecting their swings. So what you will see as I move on in the slide is only swings that are at game speed. So we only pull into our data visualization story swings that are taking off our pitching machine, which they hit at a game velocity, and in-game swings. We use it for our athletes to tell them a story. So, we want to paint a picture with that data of what is the process you're going to be taking as an athlete to improve some key areas, and then also obviously to show them progress. When we use it from this standpoint, this data visualization standpoint, we're talking about large snapshots. So the things that I'll show you today are going to be about 700 in-game or game-like swings. And so this is a period of months sometimes that we're real by the. So I'm going to lay out today just very briefly two athletes and how we use their data to paint a picture for them and give them a story of what they were as an athlete. I'm just having a little delay, so we're going to try to get to that first graph slide if we can. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this first story, and we'll see, is going to be about consistency. So when we are looking at the data for our athletes, so this is an athlete who's a senior in high school and will be graduating soon. And as we collected data, I'm going to start with the all the way on the right graph. So that is attack angle. And as you'll see, forget for a second what metrics or a target you're looking for. What you don't want to see in an attack angle is a graph that looks like it's jumping literally all over the place. So we all might have different targets for what we want out of attack angle, but we definitely want our athletes to have a repeatable swing and a contact point that is very similar. And so this athlete was showing a huge variety in her attack angle. So we then went and looked at her connection numbers and saw a very similar variety. So connection for me, if you're looking at an early connection number that's moving that much, that means that whatever her move is, her stride into that front foot down is very inconsistent. She's not able to get that off in a time that is consistent. And so all of these played into us talking to the athlete about that inconsistency in a way that she could understand and really visualize and understand. We obviously don't want graphs that look, crazy like that. So we, for her, just this one is an actual story of sort of working on something, but we changed her stride. We worked on a new move for her, and then we were able through her data to show a very clear point where that stuck for her. So again, forget for a second that maybe these connection numbers, I know they're little, but they're sitting, a little below 80, or maybe on the low side of things. But that wasn't her target. Her target was having a move that was consistent, and the data allowed us to paint a story. And when you're an athlete and you see a change like that, it's a good way for us to get buy-in from our athletes to paint them a story with their data that shows progress. We can go to the next slide. The next athlete that I had, this is a sophomore in high school, and her story is more about efficiency, showing a positive, but then also showing room for improvement. So we can go one more slide. So I don't have as exciting of a progress story for this athlete. This is more of just where we're focusing. But on the left, we have rotational acceleration and bat speed on top of each other. And so for her rotational acceleration is sitting above 10. And her bat speed is sitting around 60. And so for us, we can say, wow, you have amazing power potential. You're able to generate a lot of force, which is, really a positive sign of success. But then you go to the right and we see low on plane efficiency numbers and low speed efficiency. So speed efficiency is not something that Blast spits out, but it's just bat speed divided by peak hand speed. So this for us is the way, how quickly they can translate that speed or that energy they have into the barrel. And so for us, this is, again, it's a good story for an athlete if you're trying to get buy-in, which is basically like you have unbelievable potential because you can already naturally, with what you've been giving, generate a lot of power. And so, but we have some mechanical issues. We're not taking that, that amazing energy that you're generating and getting it to the right spots. So I can tell you, I don't have video of this athlete, but she uses her hands a lot and is a little pushy, and so it's just not translating into the right places. And so it allows us to paint a picture that's both positive, which you need for buy-in, that's not just overwhelming for the athlete, but also a story about where she can go and where she can get from that. So that's how we use it right now, and it's been powerful for us. We've been very particular about what we collect and how we use that. Just to make sure that we're getting information into our athletes' hand that's helpful. We very infrequently use it sort of not in game settings, but if we were to use that, our athletes know to mark that because it doesn't get fed sort of into the data I pull from them. So if we were going to, have a target metric or something like that for a drill, they would just mark it as such, and that wouldn't be something that I would pull out of their data for this. And so everything you guys are seeing today, they would only see, every few weeks, every few months even sometimes. So it's more of us giving them information about that progress when we feel like it's needed, and not something that we overwhelm them. So that's my little spiel. That's how we use it right now, and happy to answer questions at the end or what we're going to do. But that's all I got today.